Liberalism. Liberalism is a political ideology that puts individual freedom and rights at the center. It believes that every person should have the autonomy to make decisions about their own life, express themselves freely, and own property. It also supports governments that respect citizens and operate under democratic rules, with checks on power to prevent the violation of individual rights. In economics, liberalism promotes free markets and competition, encouraging entrepreneurship and innovation. This ideology developed mainly in the 17th and 18th centuries and has greatly influenced the formation of modern states, such as the United States and many Western European countries. At the same time, liberalism emphasizes equal opportunities, minority protection, and social justice within a framework that respects personal freedom. It remains one of the most enduring ideologies, shaping political, economic, and social developments even today. Conservatism. Conservatism is a political ideology that emphasizes the preservation of traditions, social institutions, and stability within society. It believes that change should happen carefully and gradually, so as not to disrupt the balance and to protect values that have proven effective over time. Conservatism often supports the family, religion, national identity, and social cohesion as the foundation of a well-ordered society. Historically, conservatism emerged as a reaction to rapid social and political changes, such as the French Revolution, and it influences political parties that prioritize stability over radical reforms. It often incorporates economic positions that emphasize private property and limited government intervention, always aiming to maintain social order and preserve traditional values. Capitalism. Capitalism is an economic and social system based on private ownership and free markets. Individuals and businesses have the freedom to produce, buy, and sell goods and services, while competition determines prices and quality. The government intervenes minimally in the economy, allowing the market to regulate supply and demand on its own. Capitalism developed during the Industrial Revolution and became the foundation for economic growth and innovation in many countries. Despite its benefits, such as wealth creation and promoting entrepreneurship, it has been criticized for increasing inequality and marginalizing weaker social groups. Nevertheless, it remains the dominant economic system in most countries around the world today. Socialism. Socialism is a political and economic ideology that emphasizes equality and the collective or state ownership of the means of production for the common good. Its goal is to reduce social inequalities and ensure that all citizens have access to essential services such as healthcare, education, and housing. Unlike capitalism, where the market largely dictates outcomes, socialism promotes social solidarity and collective responsibility. Historically, socialism emerged in the 19th century as a response to the extreme inequalities of the early industrial era. It has deeply influenced many countries, from early labor movements to modern societies implementing social policies and public services. Despite criticisms for limiting individual economic freedom, socialism remains one of the most important ideologies for promoting social justice and equality. Communism. Communism is a radical political and economic ideology that seeks to eliminate private property entirely and distribute resources equally among all people. Its goal is to create a classless society where the means of production are owned by the community or the state, and everyone works for the common good. Unlike socialism, which can coexist with some private ownership, communism aims for complete equality and collective ownership of all resources. Communism was developed from the ideas of Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels in the 19th century and was implemented in various countries, such as the Soviet Union, with the goal of abolishing social inequalities. Despite its aspirations for a just society, its implementation was often associated with authoritarian regimes and restrictions on individual freedoms. Nevertheless, its principles continue to influence political and social movements around the world. Social democracy. Social democracy is a political ideology that seeks to combine the best elements of capitalism and socialism. It supports free markets and entrepreneurship, while placing great importance on social programs and welfare systems to protect the most vulnerable. Its goal is social justice, equal opportunities, and reducing inequality without eliminating individual economic freedom. Historically, social democracy emerged in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. as a moderate version of socialism that works within democratic governments. It has significantly influenced European politics, establishing welfare systems, public health care, and education. Today, social democracy is seen as a stable approach that balances economic growth with social equality. Progressivism. Progressivism is a political ideology that focuses on promoting social change and reforms to create a more just and equitable society. It supports equality, human rights, social justice, and the protection of minorities, while often advocating for innovation and adapting institutions to meet contemporary needs. Unlike more conservative ideologies, progressivism views change as essential for societal improvement and development. Developed mainly in the United States and Europe in the late 19th and early 20th centuries as a response to social inequalities and worker exploitation. Today, progressive policies significantly influence legislation, social programs, and public policies, aiming to build a more open, fair, and sustainable society. Nationalism. Nationalism is a political ideology that emphasizes pride and loyalty to one's nation. It holds that people who share a common language, history, culture, and traditions belong to a single national identity that should be preserved and promoted. Nationalism can strengthen unity and social cohesion, but in some cases, it may lead to the exclusion or marginalization of other groups. Nationalism played a crucial role in the formation of modern states, especially during the 19th and 20th centuries, through processes of independence and unification. It has also significantly influenced politics, international relations, and social movements, from establishing national borders to supporting policies that emphasize national identity and sovereignty. Populism. Populism is a political ideology or strategy that emphasizes representing the people against an elite perceived as corrupt or disconnected from their needs. Populist leaders often use simple language and promise immediate solutions to complex problems, aiming to engage and mobilize the general public. Populism can appear in both left-wing and right-wing movements, depending on the values being promoted. Historically, populism has emerged in many countries as a reaction to social and economic inequality or political alienation. While it can energize citizens and defend marginalized groups, it can also lead to political polarization or oversimplification of complex issues, sometimes resulting in unstable governance. Fascism. Fascism is an extreme political ideology that promotes absolute state power, authoritarianism, and the supremacy of the national community over the individual. It supports a strict social hierarchy, obedience to the leader, and the suppression of any opposing voices or political opposition. Propaganda, military strength, and nationalist rhetoric are key tools for maintaining control. Historically, fascism emerged primarily in Italy and Germany in the 20th century, leading to totalitarian regimes with severe human rights violations. Despite its authoritarian nature, it has been extensively studied for its impact on politics, society, and history, serving as a warning about the dangers of concentrated power. Anarchism. Anarchy is a political ideology that advocates the abolition of all forms of coercive authority and the self-management of communities. Anarchists believe that people can organize themselves without a state or hierarchical structures through horizontal forms of cooperation and mutual aid. Their goal is a society where freedom and equality coexist without authoritarian institutions. Anarchism emerged in the 19th century as a response to the oppression of workers and the growing power of the state. It has influenced social movements, uprisings, and political currents worldwide, demonstrating that social organization can be based on voluntary cooperation rather than the enforcement of authority. Libertarianism. Libertarianism is a political ideology that places absolute emphasis on individual freedom and personal autonomy. It argues that people should have the right to make decisions about their own lives without government interference, except to protect the basic rights of others. In economics, it promotes free markets, private property, and a minimal role for the state. Historically, libertarianism stems from liberal traditions and developed mainly in the 20th century, influencing political movements that call for reduced government intervention and increased personal autonomy. Despite criticism for potentially neglecting the protection of the socially vulnerable, it remains an important ideology emphasizing personal responsibility and the freedom to choose. Syndicalism. Syndicalism is a political and social ideology that emphasizes the organization of workers to defend their rights and promote economic and social equality. It supports unions playing a central role in managing production and exerting pressure for better working conditions, wages, and labor rights. Its goal is to empower workers against employers and state authority. Syndicalism emerged in the 19th century, mainly in Europe, as a response to social inequalities during the industrial era. It significantly influenced labor movements, strikes, and social activism, proposing that collective action by workers can bring about fair and meaningful changes in society and the economy. Feminism. Feminism is a social and political ideology that advocates for gender equality in all areas of society. Its goal is to combat discrimination and inequalities faced by women, promote their participation in education, work, and politics, and ensure equal rights and opportunities for everyone. Feminism emerged in the 19th century with its first wave focusing on women's suffrage and legal equality. Subsequent waves expanded to address social, economic, and political equality, deeply influencing legislation, culture, and social policies worldwide. Today, it continues to be a driving force in promoting justice and gender equality. Environmentalism. Environmentalism, or green politics, is a political and social ideology that prioritizes the protection of the environment and sustainable development. It aims to reduce pollution, preserve biodiversity, combat climate change, and promote the use of renewable energy sources. It advocates policies that combine ecological awareness with social justice, believing that protecting the planet is essential for the well-being of all. Historically, green politics developed from social and environmental movements of the 20th century and has since become integrated into political parties and movements worldwide. Green policies influence legislation, urban planning, and energy development, proposing solutions that combine ecology with economic and social welfare, aiming to create a sustainable and fair world. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. See you very soon in the next video.